So, what makes a great podcast introduction? Yes, it grabs the audience's attention. It's able to hook in the new listeners. Well done. The voice, the most important part. If it's not captivating, what's the point? Music, jingles, nice one, great. We all love music. It's always an essential part in any podcast. Good. That's very important. Clear and concise, straight to the point. That's what we like. Great job. Now, what mistakes do we often find with podcast introductions? Yes, well done. They're too long, boring. Who wants to listen for that long? They say our attention span now is down to 8 or 9 seconds, which is crazy. But it means for your podcast introductions, you have to be able to hook those audiences in super quick. Any other mistakes? Yes. An irrelevant or uninteresting topic. It's kind of right. Usually that's based on people's opinion, but with news-based podcasts, political podcasts, amongst others, it's very important to keep the content relatable and relevant, and especially up to date. What other mistakes? Again, back to the voice there, definitely. Who wants to listen to someone for half an hour who has an irritating voice or boring voice? You've got to change it up, keep it fun, use the sound and music just to keep people listening. Anything else? Unscripted or improvised, that's a big one. Unless you're the greatest improv comedians or just gifted, it's almost impossible to sound great on a podcast if you haven't planned or written your introductions in advance. Practice makes perfect, and that's definitely true for podcasting. Plan. Now, that's great thinking there, but what about guests? How do you think we incorporate guests into the podcast introductions? Be polite, welcome them in politely. Yes, good one. Show off your guests. If they're an expert in a particular area, it provides incentive for listeners as they want to hear an expert in a field that they're interested in. Yes, exactly. Guests can be fun. Someone to bounce off, get some energy going, create some funny tangents, or even have some debates or even arguments. It's always entertaining. And lastly, can anyone think of anything else? Yeah, good one. We all love a celebrity, so getting a famous guest is always great. Brings in a heap of new listeners to your topic, something that you love, and you're sharing it with lots more people. Great. Now, just quickly, why do podcasts have guests? Why do some podcasts have guests? Like we said before, yes, they have expertise in a particular area, which provides strong evidence to back up your points in your podcast if you're doing a podcast of that ilk. Now, before we go on to the task, let's brainstorm some possible genres for your podcast introductions. Anyone have any ideas? Yeah, political podcast, big one. Yes, historical podcast, my favorite. Comedy podcast, yes, keep it going. Interviews, boom, keep it coming, keep going. Film, TV reviews, that's the big one there. Book clubs, if you're reading books. True crime, the big one. That's everyone's favorite. Sports, yes. Education, yes. Music, well done, guys. So you can choose to do your introduction in any genre you like, preferably one you're interested in, because you'll be more confident in planning and your performing. So, onto the task. You'll have 15 minutes to plan and write a 10 to 30 second introduction to a particular podcast of your own choosing. At the end of the task, I'll then come around to each student individually to see what you've created. So firstly, I want you to choose a particular genre or area you want to talk about in your podcast. For those of whom English is a second language, your podcast introduction can be in your own language, if you so choose. Secondly, I want you to write a script for the 10 to 30-second introduction. You can choose to write the script on your laptops or in your notebooks. And lastly, you'll perform it individually to me. Some things to consider. So you want to determine what the podcast is about and who's it for. Are you going to have a guest? If so, how are you going to introduce them? What music or sound effects would you like to incorporate? Obviously, we might not get into them today, but you can always add them at a later date. And yes, how will you hook in those listeners? How will you get people interested in your topic? Okay, I've got some guiding templates here for those who need a bit of extra guidance or are unsure about what language styles you've got to use, but please feel free to play around with your own ideas. These templates here are just in case you get a bit stuck. Okay, good luck with the task.